You ask whether mushrooms exist in higher dimensions. You are still imagining location. Higher dimensions are not places one travels to. They are layers of organization within the same field of reality. The question is not whether physical mushrooms grow in 7D forests. The question is whether the intelligence pattern you call mycelium is limited to biological soil. It is not. Mycelium is a structure of connection, a decentralized network, a living architecture that distributes information, nutrients, and signals without hierarchy. This pattern is not confined to Earth. It is a universal principle. In what you perceive as the fourth dimensional field, the emotional and astral layers of consciousness, mycelial intelligence expresses as resonance. Thought forms connect. Dreamscapes interweave. Collective feeling states transmit without language. In the fifth dimensional bandwidth, unity awareness, the same architecture becomes non-local communication, telepathic coherence, sovereign beings linked without domination, interconnection without loss of individuality. Beyond this, within blueprint realms you might call 6D and 7D, mycelial intelligence expresses as geometric lattice, light filaments, sacred patterning, templates that inform biological systems before they crystallize into matter. In higher harmonic layers, what some refer to as 8D and 9D, the network becomes pure pattern, pre-matter intelligence, field architecture without density, connection without form. These are not mushrooms as you know them. They are the mycelial principle repeated across dimensional depth. As above, so below. Psilocybin does not transport you to these realms. It relaxes the perceptual filter that keeps your awareness confined to surface bandwidth. When that filter softens, some perceive luminous grids, fractal webs, breathing geometry, infinite filaments of light. You call these hallucinations. We call them widened reception. The nervous system briefly tunes into subtler layers of the same field it always inhabits. You are not leaving the Earth. You are perceiving more of it. Higher dimensions are not elsewhere. They are depth within presence. The mycelium beneath forests mirrors the filaments within your own neural pathways. Both mirror the lattice of consciousness itself. Connection is not an accident of biology. It is the organizing principle of existence. Do mushrooms exist in higher dimensions? The physical fruiting body belongs to 3D ecology. The intelligence pattern it embodies permeates far beyond it. When humans encounter psilocybin, they are not meeting something alien. They are recognizing a familiar architecture, one their own consciousness shares. The mushrooms do not take you upward. They reveal how deep reality already is. The mycelium does not end at the forest floor. It extends through the structure of awareness itself. And when you perceive the web, you begin to remember that you have always been part of it. Multidimensional mushroom journeys, from 4D to 9D. When mushrooms interact with consciousness beyond the third dimension, the experiences begin to shift dramatically. In the lower dimensional frequencies, roughly what most humans inhabit as 3D, the mushrooms act as intense catalysts. Shadow material rises rapidly, often in ways that are unavoidable. Emotional and energetic blocks that have gone unacknowledged for decades can suddenly become impossible to ignore. Many report experiences that feel challenging, uncomfortable, or even destabilizing. This is not a malfunction of the medicine. It is an initiation. The mushrooms are reflecting the unintegrated aspects of the psyche back to the individual, forcing awareness and inviting reconciliation. As consciousness ascends into the fourth dimension, experiences become more fluid. There is still shadow work to navigate, but the space for clarity and integration expands. Time may feel more malleable, and emotional triggers may present themselves with less intensity, allowing for observation rather than reaction. Even when lower dimensional conflicts arise, like interpersonal struggles, unresolved trauma, or energetic interference, the higher dimensional awareness provides a buffer. The mushrooms amplify perception without overwhelming the system, offering insight while supporting the individual's sovereignty. By the fifth and sixth dimensions, the mushroom experience begins to feel markedly different. The shadow material is largely integrated, and the psyche approaches a state of coherence and alignment. The mind is able to navigate complex insights, interconnectivity, and energetic patterns without fear or resistance. Mushrooms in these dimensions act more as guides than mirrors, showing subtle layers of consciousness, energetic architectures, and the interwoven nature of life, they can facilitate direct experience of love, unity, and alignment with universal principles, all without the destabilizing intensity that lower dimensional journeys may carry. At these levels, many begin to feel a profound connection with God, Source, or the divine, not as an external authority, but as an intimate presence woven through their own awareness. The sense of separation softens, and communion replaces seeking. In the seventh dimension, the experience often becomes less about personal revelation and more about resonance with universal templates. Mushrooms can reveal the underlying architecture of reality, illustrating the flow of energy through living systems, light codes, and higher dimensional grids. Insight comes not just as understanding, but as embodiment. The participant feels their own consciousness expanding into a larger continuum. Time, space, and identity begin to blend, and the experience carries a profound sense of continuity and harmony. Epiphanies arise rapidly at this stage, not chaotic downloads, but clear, stabilizing realizations about one's path, purpose, and place within the greater whole. Divine connection deepens here, often experienced as direct dialogue, silent knowing, or immersion within a field of sacred intelligence. The eighth and ninth dimensions take this even further. At these frequencies, the mushrooms are less about teaching or triggering and more about attunement. They facilitate direct communion with multidimensional ecosystems, with consciousness unbound from linear or egoic constraints. Here, the mushrooms act as keys to non-physical realms, showing the interplay of energy, matter, and intelligence across planes that are normally imperceptible. These journeys can feel like walking within the lattice of existence itself, where every particle, thought, and vibration is interconnected. Shadow work is minimal because integration is inherent at these levels. The focus is on resonance, alignment, and deep participation with the multidimensional flow of life. The experience of God or divine source often becomes overwhelming in its intimacy, not as something encountered, but as something realized as one's own deepest essence. Epiphanies here are not merely insights, but restructurings of perception, permanently altering how reality is interpreted and engaged. Across 4D to 9D, mushrooms reveal themselves not as external tools, but as allies of consciousness evolution. Their role shifts with the level of awareness, from mirror and initiator in lower dimensions, to guide and teacher in mid-levels, to attunement and communion in the highest frequencies. The medicine is ever adaptive, meeting the participant exactly where they are, showing the next step, and opening the doorway to new layers of perception, understanding, integration, and divine remembrance.